Hi everyone, today I'm joined by the lovely Naomi from the Scottish Leather Group. Hello Naomi.
Hi, Chloe.
So just to start us off, if you could just briefly explain who you are and what your company does.
My name is Naomi Butterworth. I'm the Management Systems Engineer for Scottish Leather Group, and we make leather for the automotive, aviation, and mass transport sectors, along with some other interesting bits here and there.
Awesome. No, that's really cool. One interesting thing.
Yeah.
So what did you use to manage sort of your workflows and your sort of compliance side of things before you switched to QHub?
So we actually had multiple tools that we used for our management systems, but two in particular. One that was mostly based for our quality needs, and the other one was mostly focused on our health and safety needs. And both were a bit clunky in how they worked and didn't really lend themselves to the way we needed to go in the future.
Okay. So they were just kind of a little bit awkward to use, not that easy to get along with.
Just aging, they're not really up to date. The way we work changes, the standards change. We have multiple standards we use, so it's just opportunity for improvement or continuous improvement. Just really was challenging with those current with those systems at the time.
Okay, yeah. So those were the kind of like the challenges that you were facing. They weren't really scalable, or it doesn't sound like they were that kind of like customizable to,
No.
As your needs were changing.
No,
Okay.
that was definitely one of the challenges we faced. The quality system was was an aging tool. It was not going to be supported by the supplier any longer, and the alternatives that they had on offer didn't really lend itself to the way that we envisaged we were working. Similar with the health and safety tool, although this was again similar to QHub, a web application, had some positive points such as the user interface, but creating smart forms based on our needs was all there, but the reporting system was very, very problematic, and you could get data in, but you couldn't get it back out in any meaningful way. So reporting was always challenging for us, and the multiple systems that we used, we needed to find a more streamlined approach to how we were working and make it more efficient in providing the desired level of data. Costs of these are always a factor. Systems, so finding an alternative that kind of streamlined and allowed us to be more collaborative, had the value for money, and had the customer support and the opportunity to feedback and develop to future-proof ourselves was a really, really big selection factor.
And then along came QHub.
And then at the end of a 3-year search,
Oh my goodness.
we'd looked at maybe 9 or 10 different systems, and then we sandboxed 3 different ones, including QHub. All had some beneficial factors to them, but ultimately QHub kind of won out in the end.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That was a long search for you though. 3 years, my goodness.
Yeah.
What a struggle.
Just for a little bit of background though, we have 7 different standards that we operate to, plus customer requirements. So whatever system we had to find that wasn't just stuck for that only addressed quality standards, it had to address environmental, health and safety, energy, lab, UCAS, all of these different things. And every one of those standards have different requirements. And so finding one system that fits all, there just isn't one on the market. Believe me, we've looked, but QHub does offer the most flexibility.
Awesome. Oh, that's really good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm sure if anyone wants any advice on any of our competitors, they can come to you.
Awesome. I looked at them all.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I'm glad that you found us in the end, and we've ticked the boxes that you were looking for, it sounds like. So how was the transition over onto the platform? Did you find QHub supportive during this process as well?
We always knew transition for us wasn't going to be plain sailing. We are a 100-year-old plus company with lots and lots of data from different companies trying to merge, different platforms and different systems trying to merge all into one. So we knew that it was going to be difficult, but the key part of that transition was understanding the differences and how best to approach it. So with a little bit of planning in QHub, your team have been really helpful in guiding us along the way and being there in the background for us when we've hit stumbling blocks. We kind of led that transition because we know ourselves what it is that we need, but we've had in-person meetings, we've had Teams calls to work out issues, and we've had keep in touch sessions as well. And we've encountered some initial challenges, but they've been manageable, and all the systems work differently. So sometimes it's about discovering new methods rather than trying to replicate the old. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey, but a positive one, because we've learned a lot over the last year during this transition, and I'm sure we'll learn even more. It's early days yet.
Yeah. Oh, fab. Yeah, it sounds like it has been quite the journey, and quite a bit of a learning curve at the same time, because it's opportunities like these. It's always a good point to sort of review your processes and review how things are done, and to implement new systems in place as well. So wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about how your company uses QHub?
Yeah, so we've utilised pretty much every aspect of QHub from start to finish. So we are using the Work Hub for managing tasks. We are using the Document Hub for our document control system. We have fully utilised the workspaces within the Work Hub as well, so that we can make customisable landing pages for our teams, so that they can fully collaborate with each other and see what's happening, that utilise some of the processes that we're doing. We're using the Asset Hub to manage our calibrations and statutory inspections, and we've got a really good team working with that as well. Again, teething issues about how do we do this and how do we find the best way forwards, but we're getting there slowly but surely. I'm glad that we've got, we can up-rev processes, and we're not stuck, and we can evolve as we learn more. What else are we using? Registers. We're using the Register Hub to address our supplier registers. So we've got approved supplier lists in there, which we fully use the automation feature that you have for sending out reminders to key personnel, to the stakeholders, to say it's up for review. What else are we doing in there? Processes, forms. I pretty much have explored most of it. There's maybe one little aspect that I haven't touched on yet, and that's projects and info processes, but I'm going to get there next. I'm sure. But
yeah,
it's been good. It's definitely been good.
Oh, fantastic. It sounds like you're putting it to good use.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do lots more, because we're taking a phased approach to the development of the system, and as we introduce new key processes and new ways of working, for example, we're currently investigating how to do an APQP system using QHub from start to finish. So basically from project conception to manufacturing finished product, to follow and link the processes. And that's one of the best things about QHub, is that all the hubs are linked together. Yeah. So that's been really a helpful way of working for us, that we can link processes to forms, and forms to processes, and all of those little things that you never thought about previously, and suddenly, oh, I can do this now, and you just find that new way forward.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you'll be after my job soon.
I know, I'm expert here. There's enough to do here.
Well, some of our work processes, they don't necessarily all fit into one little box or basket, do they? So you might have somebody needs to fill out a form, but then someone needs to sign off a document, and then then we need to check on a register for some data. So yeah, it really makes sense to have all the hubs sort of working together, so that everything that you need it to do is there in one place. So
collaboration is often a very important part, and QHub allows us to work this way. It's early days, but it looks like it does have the potential to take our management systems to the next level.
Could you maybe expand a bit more on what benefits you've seen since using QHub?
Yeah, so like I said, all the hubs are connected, and this it allows us to be a little bit more flexible in how we use the system, how we approach, how we're going to do things. So from the conception of a new process is seeing one, how does everybody interact? I guess key phrases like our RACI matrix is who's responsible, who's who do you collaborate with, who needs that information, when do they need that information. So when we're building out key processes and things, we can look at doing that. But because QHub's so flexible and customizable, it's I akin it to a Lego set. You get all the building blocks, and you can pretty much create whatever's in your imagination. Okay,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I sometimes have to phone and say, help, I don't know these settings, I don't know how to make it quite do this or do the feedback loop. But again, that's one of the things with the customer service team that you've got. You can put a ticket in, you can arrange a call, I keep in touch, and it's all been there. But yeah, it has been it's been good because it's the company's now looking at how do we use this tool regardless of function or department. So it's not going to be just for quality or health and safety or environmental. It can be for any number of things, engineering projects, all of these and above. So, again, early days, but we like what we see and we can see a way forward. We just need to have the time now to develop.
Well, that's great. I'm sure that as time goes on, and if you are able to roll it out to other departments and for other uses as well, I'm sure you'll see even more benefits. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favourite thing about QHub?
The fact that we can collaborate across functions and departments. It's definitely, it means that we sit down and we have to think properly about that information flow and where we're gathering information from, and that the workflows allows everyone to be in at the same time and working on different things. I think for me that's key. And that whatever we put in, we can report on back out, whether that's through API connections back out into using Power BI, or whether that's using the built-in KPI hub that you have. All of which I'm still learning. I'm kind of new to that. I've been playing about with it quite a lot, so there's a huge amount of data in there. It's a learning. Every day's a skill day with QHub. I think I've gotten a good way of working, and suddenly I'll go on a call, a keep in touch call, and Ethan will say, have you seen this? Have you thought about doing it this way? And I just thinking, no, I didn't. And okay, let's backtrack and let's try that. And so it's good that we can do that in the background.
Yeah, wow. And we're updating things as well all the time, so and adding new features.
Yeah, so I think that's certainly something that was a real benefit, that kind of sold us on that you've kind of aimed to build a community of users, and that you've got this resource hub that allows all your customers to come together and collaborate and find best practice and share that best practice, as opposed to we're starting from scratch and everybody's up on their own, because that's not really the way it's been sold. And if one customer puts a suggestion in, we've seen it already being rolled out in your pathways and things in the year that we've had the system, where we've seen the updates come in. So it's not the same system as we had on day one, and I'm sure it will only get more features and progressively better as the years go on, because everyone's coming together and saying this is what we should do to make the best system available to us.
Yeah, you're right. That is particularly useful, because sometimes when people start, they're at the beginning of converting or building their work on the platform, they might have an idea of how they think is best, but actually someone else more than likely has done it before them, and then they've actually thought of a slightly different solution which might be a bit more streamlined. But also the guys as well, like Ethan and you, and they've obviously got an overarching knowledge of the platform as a whole, and they've got a lot more experience in dealing with different customers and seeing what works. So it makes sense for us to be able to sort of share that across to all of our clients as well, so everybody benefits.
Exactly. I think that has been something that in the background I go in and I check regularly to see if there's been any bits added, or we've done this and this is just a template, and you're not starting from scratch. You might have to build out the workflow part, but actually 8 days are a really good example that you would use in a Kappa setting. Did we have to create that from scratch? No, we had modified to fit our needs, but the template was already in the system in the resource button, and it really helps you along the way, so you're not sitting scratching your head going, I have really no idea what I'm doing here. But here's the starting point. It was slow at first. It was like, oh no, I've got to learn a whole new system. But it wasn't just myself. There's 5 of us that are learning how to do this all at the same time, and the other admins that we've got on site have really pushed hard to do their processes on the system and share the knowledge and roll it out across the operation team and production teams. So people are positive about it, but it's new to them, and there's this settling in period that we're in just now.
Yeah, of course. So just on the back of that, would you recommend QHub to others?
Certainly, for any companies out there that work to more than one standard and are struggling to find something that is flexible and customizable to their needs, I would say, yeah, at least entertain the idea that QHub could be for you. Customer support's been brilliant. If we've requested a call, we've had the call. If we need to put tickets in, they get dealt with within 24, 48 hours, or you get some sort of feedback straight away. It's been a really positive interaction in that respect. But also, what really drives, the positive, what should people consider when they're looking at QHub is that whatever the customer feedback is, it is driving the improvements, and those are being implemented for all customers on the platform, regardless. And there's no added extras when it comes to having access to one or all hubs. It's one fits all type thing. And yeah, like I said, QHub are creating this community of users for best practice, and the resource hub is there, and I think it's a really good feature. We're not starting from scratch. We're not having to think outside the box, because no point in reinventing the wheel when somebody's already got there before you, and we can share that information. I think that's been a really key factor, and one that I would say is certainly why somebody should consider QHub for their own use.
I'm glad to hear that. So then, just lastly, what tips would you give to someone who is new to the platform?
Things that I wish I knew before I started. I had an idea, but planning is key, regardless of what it is. If you're thinking about moving platforms or systems, is think about your current processes and how do they work, and how you should say information be used. If you understand your processes and your workflows and how information moves from point A to point B, then you can map your processes easily and then translate it into using the system. And like I said, it's like a Lego set. You have the building blocks and you can build the final article for yourself. It definitely helps when it comes to developing your system for your needs. Understand who's going to be using the system and how they intend to interact. And we were a wee bit naive with that. We weren't sure how users would interact. And we're just making modifications based on a year down the line. So again, how many users are you thinking? How do you want them to use the system? Have key people across your business that can be champions, because you can't do it all. There's no one person that can do it all by themselves. You've got development time. You've got onboarding. It's just making full use of it. Like, don't be shy. Talk to QHub customer care teams, because they will advise you along the way regardless. And there's no upselling, so it's been useful. So you get a straight answer, because they're as dedicated and wanting the best out of their system and to have the best product on the market. So yeah, it's planning. It's really just understand what it is that you're doing and how you need it to work, and where you want to go in the future. I think that's the only advice I can give you, because every company will be different. They'll use it in different ways. And that's the beauty of the QHub system, is the flexibility and the customizations that you can do, is that regardless if you're a manufacturing business or a finance team or whatever, you can pretty much make it work for you.
Yeah. No, that's really great advice. And yeah, as you say, sometimes if you're at the start, it can feel a bit daunting, or you feel like you might not have a clear idea in your mind of what you want out of the system, but actually sitting down and really getting to grips with what you want it to do and what you want out of it. And you're right, the team's here, like we're here if people are stuck, or they just want a bit of we offer like one-to-one calls. We can really help people to kind of get to grips with what they want the platform to do. So
there's always like that. There's always something in the back of your head that says, "Oh, I can't do this," but actually, once you get your head wrapped around how things slot together, it makes it so much easier. But having a good team surrounding you as well, so if you might be project leading this, but if you've surrounded yourself with people who are, they're knowledgeable about their processes and their key responsibilities, building out and planning becomes a lot easier. Like I said, we've got 5 admins for this system. Each of them are specialists in their own area. And we lean on that knowledge. It's not that we do something isolated. We look at it as holistically as a whole system now, rather than siloed. standards where it's just health and safety or it's just quality. We look at it as a complete management system and a management system tool across all functions and departments.
Mm-hmm.
So that's changed because that's not where we were a year ago. We didn't really think that way. We had very much, this is for quality, this is for health and safety, and we always knew we needed to go forward, but we just didn't know how we were going to do that. So this is really a helpful tool. Early days, what we've got, it's promising, and we're happy to be on the journey.
Mm. I love your you mentioned it a couple of times, but I love your illustration about Lego bricks and that.
Yeah,
you can see all the pieces.
It's easier for me to see it like that because you've given us all the tools to build something. We just need to build it.
Yeah. And sometimes you might make a couple of mistakes along the way, but eventually the finished product will be what you want it to look like.
That's the beauty of it, though. Like, there's versions and you've matured and there's no data loss, which was always a big issue. Like for me in particular, if we rev something, would we lose data? But we haven't found that so far. And whilst we're learning, we will have many revisions. And it's just part of the journey. But it's definitely the YouTube channels. Make full use of the YouTube channels because on days where I've hit a brick wall, I refer back to that, and suddenly I can think, oh, that's how we do that because they're demonstrating it. Videos. I keep forgetting about the YouTube.
Oh yeah, don't forget about the YouTube channel.
Don't forget about the YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're adding stuff to that all the time as well. Yeah, I'm glad you found it helpful.
Yeah, I bet it's a quick link for me now on my own homepage.
It's like speed dial to help.
Yeah, I set up my own workspace and it's on there.
It's on there. Oh, fantastic! I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, fab. Well,
so it's really good. It is proven to be a very useful tool, and I hope anybody who decides to give it a go or to look at it in the future finds it as beneficial as we are in moving forward with continuous improvement.
Oh, Naomi, I really appreciate all your positive comments and all your great feedback and tips for others as well.
We are making full use of what we can in the system, and I'm sure we'll make full use of more parts as we learn more as we go on and develop.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, that's good because, as you said, like we're still sort of developing and adding new things on all the time. So we're on this journey of growth together. So thank you.
Absolutely. And, we're happy to share what we've learned along the way. Till the next time, Chloe. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Naomi.
Thank you.
See you soon. Cheers, Naomi.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.